In today's video, we talk about classic police officers who try to bend their authority and enforce their own laws, but were educated by their supervisors as soon as they arrived. So let's go. A man who's a journalist entered a DOT building to make a story for his own content because he heard that cops are treating people who come here badly. However, it turns out that the police officers who are supposed to be looking out for the safety of these same people are the ones who are actually mistreating them. One cop was particularly bothered that a journalist was in this building filming and tried to accuse him of trespassing. How can anyone be charged with trespassing in the middle of public territory? However, the cop claimed that this was a private building. Okay, but it's open to the public, right? Which means it's open to him. After all, no one asked him to leave, nor did he see any sign warning him that he should not go inside. So the cop has no right to say such things to him unless he wants to violate and endanger the rights of this citizen. The officer tried to chase the man out of the building, asking him if he had anything better to do that day. Well, it's none of the cop's damn business at all now, is it?
Suspicion that a crime has been committed. If not, then 10-8, man.
Are you not trespassing?
No, you can't trespass on public property. And you can't trespass me from this property unless I've committed a crime. Isn't that correct?
No.
That is correct.
No.
That is correct. You cannot trespass me from public property unless I've committed a crime.
Would a private building be public property?
How is the Iowa DOT a private building? This is open to the public.
Are you allowed in here at any given time?
Yes, it's open to the public. Did you not hear what I just said?
But the sign out here just says it's...
That's a policy, and you're law enforcement, not policy enforcement.
Okay. So your issue is that you can just sit in here all day, record everybody.
No, everybody else has an issue with that. I didn't speak to anyone. I came in, was going around collecting my pictures and video as I do. I got threatened with violence, okay? I got asked to leave several times. No, I don't want to make a police report because then I would have to identify myself to you.
Okay.
The cops insisted that there was an inscription on the signs that explained something to the man, but they didn't know what either. Well, for their information, that on the door is a policy of conduct, and it has nothing to do with what this man does. The man is there to make a story about the cops' behavior towards people, but now it was unclear to the cops that he had not interviewed anyone and was supposedly interested in people's stories. The only thing they knew was how to introduce themselves and say their badge number when asked. Another super cop who came to the aid of his colleagues claimed that the man, the journalist, had to leave the building. But why if he hasn't committed any crime? And plus, he has a constitutional right to be there. When he saw that these officers were not easy to talk to, the man gave up and decided to call a supervisor.
I know all y'all...
So you're upset with all these people for...
No, I'm not upset with anybody.
Or...
I'm not upset with anybody. I'm simply discussing this with you. You approached me. I didn't call you.
Right.
I don't even need to be talking to you right now. Hi, how you doing? May I have your name and badge number, by the way?
Nemers 517.
Nemers 517. Name and badge number, please.
Yeah, Newman 5051.
Newman 5051.
You need to go.
This is public property. I'm not doing anything illegal. They did ask me to leave, but I polite. No, this is public property. This is public property. I have business here. I am a journalist. I am gathering content for a story. This is a public building. I'm doing a story on the Iowa DOT and how people are treated when they go in there. Because I got reports that people got treated bad in here. So I'm in here checking that out. And you know what? So far, it's holding to be true.
So have you found someone that's willing to be interviewed by you?
I don't need anybody to be interviewed. Like I said, I'm an independent journalist.
So you're doing a story, but you're not interested in anybody's actual story.
Well, right now, I feel like you might be, part of my story. And this officer now, too. You know? Mm-hmm. So, I'm here exercising a constitutionally protected activity. I'm gathering content for a story. I'm on public property. You guys might want to call a supervisor because I don't want you to make a big mistake.
Didn't even ask nobody if it's
yeah, I don't want you to make one. That's what I'm saying. Like if you look at if you just look
Can run the business how they want to. They don't have to service you.
No, they don't. I'm not here for services.
Okay.
I'm here to gather content for a story.
The reporter continued the conversation with another cop who couldn't understand why the man couldn't be charged with trespassing. The policeman had no idea what he was talking about. He was telling the man that he had not committed a crime, but that he was accused of trespassing. The cops claimed that the people inside were uncomfortable. Okay, maybe that's true, but that doesn't mean this journalist loses all his rights because of someone's subjective feeling in a public space. It's important that no one feels threatened, right?
A public building, because I pay for this building.
But they have to run the business how they want.
I have a right to be here no matter how they feel about it.
Oh, well, so that's not really true. Actually.
It is. It
My
is.
supervisor will tell you that.
Well, no. If I commit a crime on the public property,
no.
then you can remove me. You can't remove me from public property
They can run
unless
the
I've
business how they
committed
want
a.
to.
What is your reasonable, articulable suspicion that I've committed a crime?
No, there's no crime that has to be had.
Okay, so how?
So they can run the business how they
No,
want
he
to.
said trespass. He said trespass.
Right,
How
they're in
can I
charge of
get
the property.
trespassed from a public property?
It happens every day. We trespass people every day. Put them in our computer.
Yeah, you trespass people every day from public
Every
property.
day. Yes.
How do you justify that?
That's how it works.
Okay, so if you trespass a journalist for gathering content for a story, you think that's okay? You think that's okay? You think it's okay to
the law. That's the law.
you think it's okay to jail and trespass a journalist and stop them from gathering content for a story? This is a public building.
The conversation with the cops continued outside because the journalist didn't want to disturb people further. This conversation seems as if it will last all night because the cop was not clear about what trespassing was, as if he slept through that class. To summarize, no one kicked the journalist out, nor did any citizen complain about his filming. It was the workers who approached him and asked him if he could stop filming, to which he said he could not. He has the right to answer no. The fact that he didn't agree with someone's opinion doesn't mean that the police should now take action in a public place and drive this man away. He has a First Amendment right to hang out wherever he wants in public and is under no obligation to give any information about his actions unless he commits a crime. But then the cops remembered that there was some reasonable suspicion, so they charged him with it. They looked like they were guessing terms and didn't really know them. The man may have been suspicious to them, but he wasn't suspicious that he would commit a crime with certainty. The difference is big.
I did not engage in conversation with anyone. They engaged me. All I did was walk around quiet until they addressed me. Then I turned to talk to them, and then so the person that was causing the disturbance is the people that were addressing me. If they would have sat there quietly while I exercised my First Amendment protected activity, then there wouldn't have been a disruption. The disruption came from the employees and from the other. So all I'm saying is I wanted to be peacefully left alone in there to go about my business, and I wasn't. I was talked down to. I was almost assaulted twice. Okay, and they don't have the right to tell me I can't film in there. It's a government building.
They have the right to ask you to leave.
Well, they can ask, and I can politely decline. They never ordered me out of the building. They asked, and I can decline and ask.
Isn't that like semantics, a play on words? I mean,
Well, when you're dealing with the law, things do get very technical.
we have a computer system where we actually trespass people. But you're going to be on part of this here really soon.
Okay.
As far as you can't come back here because they're going to want you trespass for sure. So we have a log that we keep.
Yeah.
And the business owners, at their discretion,
Who owns this? What business?
the DOT.
Yeah, that's not a business. It's a government facility, man.
Well, whatever. If you want to.
It's a government facility. It's a public building. You can't trespass me from the Department of Transportation. I might need another license one day.
Can you trespass me from your business?
That's private. This is public.
However, the cops claimed that they often accuse people of trespassing in various public buildings, and that they gave an example of a building that is private. I think these cops went to the Clown Academy instead of the Police Academy. And they just kept digging a deeper hole for themselves. They listed as an example of a company which is private and which logically should not be accessed. However, when their supervisor came, the situation became a little different, in favor of the journalist, of course. The journalist introduced himself to the supervisor, told him his name although he didn't have to, told him what he does, where he's from, and what he's doing in a public place with a camera. From the conversation between the supervisor and the journalist, it was seen that they respect each other the way two people should be respected above all, and that the supervisor listened to the man nicely for everything he told him. When the cop asked him to wait to enter the building and see what was actually happening with the workers, the man thanked him and waited.
What public business have you recently trespassed for?
What about downtown? We have a problem with the homeless downtown, right?
Okay.
What Hy-Vee?
That's a private. That's private. Hy-Vee is a company. That's private. What? Tell me a public building that you've trespassed somebody from recently.
What about the hospitals?
That's not. Hospitals are not public.
Really, what about the county-owned one or the state-owned hospital?
That's why I don't do this at the hospitals, because there are multiple owners. They receive some public funding, but they have private funding. They didn't order me to leave.
didn't order you to leave, or asking or ordering?
So you're saying you'll leave if they just order you to leave?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I would leave because they ordered me to leave, and then I would call the police to report them
For what?
for ordering me off of public property with no authority.
But you would leave it.
If they ordered me to leave, I would have left, and then I would have called you, and I would have reported them for ordering me off of. I'm not going to identify myself. I tell you what. My name is Will. I'm a journalist. I'm gathering content for a story. This is a public building. I was photographing the walls and the monitors and the posters and stuff in there. So there one person got super angry and was threatening to assault me. This other lady came and tried to body check me. Everybody's cussing me out.
When the supervisor came out and explained to the man in a pleasant tone that the people in the building were just not used to someone coming and filming in such a way, but he explained to them that as a citizen he has every right to do so, which they then all calmed down and accepted everything. Maybe the key was how the cops would react, because most people would follow the cops and their actions. If the cops had reacted as they should have, there would have been no problem. The two cops were just standing in front, and from their facial expressions, you could see how embarrassed they were and that they were owned by a higher authority. All that was needed was for a supervisor to come and put them in their place, because there's no need for anyone to enforce their own rules and laws, especially not on educated people who know how to protect their rights.
I didn't address anyone. I waited to be addressed.
Do you have any plans as far as the rest of the property or
I actually have a meeting that I have to get to, so probably not.
Cool. Can you hang here for a minute so I can talk to whoever staff is in
Yes,
here?
yes, sir.
Will?
Yes, sir, Will. Huh?
Appreciate it, Will. I'll be right back. Okay,
Thanks.
my man?
Appreciate you, man.
So yeah, it sounds like things kind of went downhill. They're just not used to somebody coming in.
Yes, sir.
And filming and I wasn't here, so I assumed you didn't go right up to the patrons and right up to them.
No, absolutely not.
So I'm sure you didn't do
I did
any
a lot of research on how to do
They're just not
this.
used to that. They could have handled that better.
Yes, sir.
Differently.
Yes, sir.
I think that's probably the first time that's occurred.
A cop approached a man who was walking freely on the street, filming, and asked him what he was doing, probably referring to what the man was filming. The man told him he was exercising his constitutional rights. The cop probably didn't even understand what the man meant and told him that he must give him his first and last name as well as his ID. Well, why would he have to do that? He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't have ill will or bad intentions, and in that case, he doesn't have to be identified. The cop didn't agree with this, and without being able to put it together in a single sentence, explained at least why the man had to identify himself. He just continued to insist on an ID without any logical explanation. The man surprised him by telling him that he could call him a good citizen.
Yeah, it's suspicious. Okay, I'm just walking around exercising my First and Second Amendment rights.
Okay.
All right, yeah, man. You got. What's your name, man? I don't answer questions. Could you please identify yourself again, please?
Officer Bargener,
Badge number, please.
6973.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, so that's somebody thought you guys were suspicious, So none major. Okay.
Nothing major at all. I have no ill will, no bad intentions towards anybody.
Okay. Do you have a? What's your name, man?
I don't answer questions. You can call me good citizen.
Good citizen. Okay.
The cop was briefly confused by this answer and then quickly returned to questioning mode, asking the man where he lived. How can it be more clear that a person can hear and not answer a single question? Plus, the cop didn't ask him once where he lived, he asked him 3 times and then went back to asking him his name. The cop's explanation was that he wanted to know who he was talking to, as if that would now affect the man, and he would still decide to give him his information just because the cop wanted to know. The same cop who insisted that someone else introduce himself didn't know that he, as a public official, must introduce himself as long as he wears a uniform. He claimed that everyone knows him, so that's why he didn't introduce himself. Horseshit. Then, he accused the man of being suspicious, and that's why he's questioning him. The man asked him nicely if he was suspected of a misdemeanor or a felony. Do you think the cop heard either of those options?
You live here?
I don't answer questions.
Why is that?
So I'm not legally obliged to answer any questions.
Okay. So do you live here or? I'm just asking, man.
I would prefer to remain silent.
Okay.
Am I being detained?
You're not.
Okay. This is a consensual conversation.
What was that?
This is a consensual conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll allow you to proceed.
What was that?
I will allow you to proceed.
I appreciate it, man. I'm just trying to get your name, man. I like to know who I'm talking to.
You can call me sir, good citizen, boss man, whatever applies.
Okay. Well, I mean, I know I share my information with you, so what's your information, man?
Well, you're legally obliged to because you're a public servant.
What was that?
You're legally obliged to provide information because you're a public servant on duty.
Do you live here, man? I'm just trying to get to know who I'm talking to, man. I like to know everybody.
I'm going to lock my door, close it.
Okay.
We're having a consensual conversation. I'm not being detained.
Okay. Everybody knows me, man, so I'm just trying to, I like to know who I'm talking to.
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
So, what's your name, man? If I may ask.
Well, you've asked and I've answered. Again, I've got no ill intent, no ill will towards anybody. I've got a Second Amendment right to walk around with my firearm. That's all I'm doing. Literally all I'm doing.
That's what I'm trying to get to the bottom. I'm just trying to get to the bottom of it, man.
Yes, sir.
The colleague joined the first cop who claimed that everyone knew him, and now together they were trying to get the first and last name out of this man. Unlike the first cop, this one at least knew how to give his name and badge number. However, the first cop continued to claim that he had received a call about someone in black walking on the street and that he was suspicious. So he claimed that he's now in the middle of an investigation, and that is why the man has to introduce himself. However, a person does not have to introduce himself unless he's suspected of committing a crime, and it's obvious that he hasn't.
Well, no, suspicion's not a crime. Can I have your name and badge number, please?
My name?
And badge number, please.
It's 5'2".
Thank you. Officer Meyer, 5'2".
So yeah, man, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I was called in the area. All right.
Yes, sir.
So I don't know you. You now know me. I said my last name, badge number.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I know you as an officer of the law right
Right.
now, so.
And I just like to know who I'm talking to, man. That's all.
Yes, sir. Have I committed a crime today?
Right now, it's an investigation right now, man.
Okay.
Okay.
And I've told you what I'm doing.
And you didn't tell me what you were doing.
Yes, I did. I'm walking around exercising my Second Amendment right. That's literally it. That's literally all I'm doing.
What's your name, buddy?
You can call me good citizen, sir, or boss man.
No, I won't call you either of those. You realize you have to identify yourself to a police officer?
Have I committed a crime today?
You have to identify yourself to a police officer.
Have I committed a crime? I'm not
Your
required.
identification, then yeah.
What's your RAS?
We were called out for a suspicious call. That's what
Right, is suspicion a misdemeanor or a felony?
you have to identify yourself with me on these calls, okay?
I'm not required to identify myself unless I've committed a
Identify
crime.
yourself. You are required by law if we ask you to identify yourself. So don't look towards your gun.
No, I'm making sure we're 6 feet apart. I won't look down. I won't move my hands. My hands are up here.
Yeah, I see your hands. They're
Okay.
gonna stay there.
Yes, sir. Listen, I do not consent to any search or seizure. This is my Fourth Amendment right. But if it makes you more comfortable, I will not resist you seizing my property from me.
Your
If it,
property. What are you talking about, man?
my firearm on my side right now.
Okay.
If it makes you feel more comfortable, I'm not allowing you to do so. But I will not resist at all if you decide you want to seize my property from me and just put it aside while we have this conversation so you feel more at ease.
How about just give me your name, man, so I know who I'm talking to. I don't want to seize anything. All right.
Now the cops mentioned that the man has a weapon on him, and that's why they're not sure whether or not he'll commit a crime. Well, obviously he won't. He's told them time and time again that he's just training and testing his Second Amendment right, but the cops weren't clear on any of this. The man also told them that if they felt safer, they could take his weapons by force. He doesn't allow them to do that, but if they want to, he won't resist or anything like that, and then they can continue the conversation. Although, I don't see why the police officers here would feel threatened, given that they are also armed.
Look, you have the right to walk down these streets. You know, that's your right, man.
Yes, sir.
Camera and whatnot. I just got a call that there was two males wearing all black. There was no firearm in the description. I was just two males, all black with a camera. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. And I happen to see you two.
So,
buddy.
which part of that is suspicious or illegal? Well, if I'm not committing a crime, then
How are we to know that you don't have a felony and you're carrying a weapon? If you don't identify yourself, how are we to know that you're not? We're out here for, okay?
right.
We are called for suspicion.
Second Amendment.
We are legally mandated to
find out what the suspicious activity is. Okay?
Yes.
That's what we're out here doing.
Yes.
Now, you hindering an investigation, failing to identify yourself to a law enforcement officer,
Well, if I haven't committed a crime,
comply with our investigation.
When the supervisor arrived, things weren't going too well for these two cops. They couldn't even explain to the supervisor why they were mistreating the man who had done nothing wrong, let alone convince the supervisor that they were right. The supervisor saw how clueless they were, so he asked the man if he was only walking on the sidewalk, to which he replied yes, and asked him if he was trying to enter any of the buildings, to which he replied no. It was clear to the supervisor that the officers just wanted to flex their authority, and he gave them a half-disappointed look. The supervisor just turned to the man and wished him a pleasant rest of the day, thus correcting the mistakes the officers had made.
Who's the original complaint? Two suspicious males with a camera. Wearing all black, so that's all I got.
well, black's just a color.
Okay. Were you on the sidewalk?
Yes, sir.
Did you try to go into buildings?
No, sir.
Were you just walking?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You didn't yell at anybody? Nothing
I
like
didn't
that?
say anything to anybody.
Okay. Who called this in? No clue? Okay.
I was just dispatched.
Where was he at when you approached?
They were right here.
Okay. Just him another guy?
Yep. He locked the door. I believe this is
Okay.
duplex or apartment.
Okay.
I'll tell you, I'll explain.
Leave our job till you're done.
Yes, sir.